tutorial is called Making a Wheel of Fortune using Flash Professional CS6 and ActionScript3. My name is Mike Kitterman and I will be your guide through this tutorial. So let's go ahead and get started right away. In this tutorial we're going to be working with two files that have already been made, and it's the wheel itself and just a little arrow, and I have those in a file. So let's go ahead and open up Flash Professional CS6 and start a new ActionScript3 project. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to our File option over in our toolbar, and we're going to import to Library. We're going to import our wheel image, which is called wheel.png, and our arrow, which is of course called arrow.png. Now we did have an option to import those directly to the stage, but we're going to go ahead and just import them to our library. And as you can see, the objects are now here in our library. So let's go over to our timeline, and we already have one layer that the IDE has already set up for us, and it's called Layer 1. And let's go ahead and rename that layer to Wheel. And let's right click on that wheel layer and go up to Insert Layer, and we're going to have another layer. We're going to rename this one to Arrow. Then we're going to go right click on either one of those, and we're going to insert one more layer and rename this layer to Actions. And those are the three layers we're going to have. Let's go ahead and move Actions up to the top here. Okay, and on the wheel layer we're going to highlight it and click on the very first frame, and then we're going to bring over our wheel from our library. We're going to hold the left mouse button down, drag it to our canvas, release the button, and there it is. While it's still highlighted, we're going to go ahead and right click on it. The very first option is Create Motion Tween. We're going to click that, and it's telling us we're going to have to convert this to a symbol, so we say OK. Now we're going to go to the end of our clip in that layer, click on the very last frame, and then go up to our Properties window, and we're going to rotate the object 360 degrees. So let's just go ahead and type that in. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look and run our movie and see how it's doing. So let's go over and click our Library tab again. Bring our arrow out here to the playing field. First, let's put it back. Let's highlight our arrow layer. Click on the first frame. Drag our arrow. Maybe a little bit like this. Okay. Go to the 48th frame in the arrow layer, and let's go ahead and insert a keyframe. That'll keep our arrow up there for the whole time that we need it. You'll notice that our wheel layer contains 24 frames, and it just so happens that our wheel has 24 separate values as the wheel turns. That's perfect because we want each frame to contain one value of the wheel. But instead of just having the wheel turn less than one turn, we're going to have it turn one whole rotation, and then we're going to pick a random number and have it stop on that frame. what we want to do is we're going to go ahead and copy these frames. We'll just go to the end right here and then paste frames. There we go, that'll work. Grab our little guide here, take it back to the beginning of the movie, and we can see that it's the wheel's turning one full revolution and then one full revolution again. And that's fine, that's exactly what we want. And let's go ahead and drag our arrow here, insert keyframe so it stays on the screen the whole time. Okay, now it's time to begin coding. In our actions layer, we're going to go to the first frame and we're going to right click and click on the bottom here, actions, and that'll bring us up to our AS3 coding canvas. And the first thing we're going to do is, since we need to pick a random number, and that random number is what our wheel will be stopping on, we're going to start by introducing a variable. So we type the var command, and we're going to name this variable the random frame. This is going to be of type integer, so we type int, and we're going to, what our method is going to do, it's going to accept two numbers, and it's going to generate a random number between those two numbers, so within that range. And the reason why we aren't just picking a random number between 1 and 24, because we know that there's 24 frames in one revolution of the wheel, is because we're going to have that one extra revolution before we have the random number. So we're going to go ahead, and our range is going to be between 25 and 48. So that'll allow it that one revolution prior to our random number. Let's go ahead and make a call to that method that we haven't made yet, but we're going to be calling that method random range. And let's go ahead and put a semicolon at the end, because we always end our lines of code in AS3 with a semicolon, very similar to the C language. To get things going, we're going to have to put in a listener on our movie, and we're going to do that by typing this, because this object is actually the movie clip object. We're going to put add event listener, this is going to be an interframe event. We're putting this event listener on our movie, so this is assuring that our code will be called. Okay, and the event that's going to call our code, the interframe event, and since it's a constant, we're going to, it's always capitalized and separated by a underscore line. And there's also another signature that needs to be passed on to the add event listener, and that is the name of our event handler. We can give it any name we want, and in this case we're going to go ahead and call it check frame. Close that paren. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and write our check frame function. So let's go ahead and do that. So this is a function. We've already hinted that it'll be called check frame. Okay, check frame, and the signature for it is going to be event separate these with a colon. Signature is going we're going to pass the variable event, which is an event. And we've always put the colon after our function, and with the return types. And since this has no return type, we of course type void. Now let's open up our method braces. Okay, and we're going to start with a conditional statement. We're going to check to see if the current frame that our movie is on, if it equals the random number that we're going to get in later on in our method that we're going to create in just a few minutes. And if it does equal that, then we're going to just have the movie stop. And one more thing we're also going to have to do, at that point we're going to remove the event listener that we just created above in the third line down of this code. Otherwise, the movie will just keep going over and over and over and looping itself. So we take that event listener off for that first frame, and it will allow our movie to stop. And presumably, right where our random spot on the wheel is. Okay, so let's go ahead and start coding that conditional statement. If this movie timeline, and current frame is a method for the movie clip in AS3. So current frame, if it equals the random frame that we named above, then we're going to have our movie stop. Okay, let's get our code, clean it up here, and position our stop method in the right spot. Just for the sake of assurance, let's go ahead and make sure that it's stopping this clip. And also, like I said, we need to remove the event listener for the first frame. So let's go ahead and do that. And when we remove it, we have to pass on the same signatures as the original, and when we originally added the event listener. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, and that's it for our conditional statement. Okay, and I see a typo here, so let me go ahead and fix that. And that, yeah, there we go. And just clean this code up a little bit here. Okay, now let's go ahead and write our random range function that we've called up here. So let's type function random range and minimum number at the beginning of the range, which is a of type number, and also number, which of course is another number. That takes care of our signature. The return type we type after the colon, and the return type is going to be a number. Okay, let's open up our brackets for this method. And we want it to return. Here's where we're going to put our statement that will calculate the random number. However, this statement is a little bit complicated and very a little bit difficult to type. Luckily, I have pre-saved a code snippet of the exact random code generator, because with many programs that you write, you will need random numbers generated from time to time, and so I have one saved. Okay, now we're going to generate the mouse click code for when we click on our arrow, so we can have it just basically start the movie all over again. So let's go ahead and left click once on the arrow to highlight it. Let's go over to our window and go to code snippets and go over to our event handlers in the pre-built code snippets, and let's double click on mouse key event, and then it'll bring up this little box. We want to click on the right hand side where the brackets are, and then we'll click insert. And now let's take our window over to our actions, and it has already inserted our mouse click event listener and our handler. But let's go ahead and take this code that it automatically put in out. That's not what we want. Remember, we just want to start the movie over again. So we could all we have to do is type this. We'll use the go to and play method that's built in for our movie clips. We'll type the frame that we want it to start at, which is frame 1, and that should pretty much be it. Let's take out this other code, and let's close our actions canvas, and let's go up and test our movie in Flash Professional. So whenever I click on the arrow, it doesn't seem to be working every time. I'm not sure what that's about. Maybe let's close that, and let's go ahead and test our file in a web browser. It stopped on 600, so it does seem to be working. It stopped on 300. Yeah, it's working beautifully. So there you go. We've created a Wheel of Fortune. Until next time, this is Mike Kitterman, and I hope you enjoy coding with me. Have a nice day.